Good morning and welcome to the Novice Sports Show. Like I said, we got three guys that came together organically to talk about sports from a novice point of view. Like I said, we're growing the channel. So again, thank you for the last 2 subscribers. We're currently up to 15. Like I said, when we get to 500, we are going to share something about ourselves, as we always say. But again, we got to get to 500. So like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, we are going to pop off the show. We got my man
AJ.
and we got my man
Jake.
we got A-Dub. So like I said, of course, we live in the great state of North Carolina, and we had one of those wonderful rivalries last night. And of course, I'm wearing a team's colors that won, but of course, somebody else was actually at the game last night. So we're gonna see what he got to say about it because he's a rabid, foaming at the mouth Tar Heel fan.
Well, I was up in the president's suite watching the game
With Michael.
yeah, me, Michael Jordan, and the ghost of Dean Smith watching the game. But anyway, no. So so Carolina got the sweep, the rare sweep. Hopefully we can keep that going into the tournament. But first thing I want to talk about, number one, congratulations, Cormac Ryan, for stepping up. That's why you get a transfer to come in the portal. You hope that these big games like this are not too much for him, and he stepped up with a season high for the Tar Heels. Might have been his career, I'm not sure, but he had 31. Duke did a great job of shutting down.
No, Duke did not do a good job.
No, they did.
Loss.
They did a great job with RJ, holding him under double digits with Armando, because he killed him last time.
Yeah.
But they had no answer for Cormac Ryan stepping up and hitting those shots, hitting threes, playing defense. So great game for them. But the thing I want to talk about
The trip.
is Mr. Filipowski. Or should I say Mr. Tripowski?
Yeah, or what's the other guy's name? We just talked about him. The one that was always tripping people.
Well, Grayson
Grayson
Allen.
Allen.
Grayson
So
Allison.
Filipowski has said he wanted to go down as one of the great Duke players. Well, guess what? He has succeeded because now he's on the same list with Christian Laettner and Grayson Allen as a dude that
Dirty.
people don't want to talk about, except for in negative terms,
That's
if
right.
you're not a Duke fan.
So yeah,
He has, first of all, he tricked when the Wake Forest players
he
going to
pushed the
court.
girl. He pushed the girl.
I still feel like he tricked that dude going by him, and then he acted like he was the one that was.
And yeah, don't remember he
that
pushed the
was
girl too
attacked.
now. He did knock the girl
Um,
down.
And then he clearly tried to trip Ingram going up the court. If you didn't see it,
I saw it.
rewind it, take a look, and then of course after he did it, you see he was kind of limping up to like. I know your MO now, buddy.
Yeah.
You do something and then you act like you're hurt to try to
Cover it up.
Cover it up.
Not happening.
So the best team won, got the sweep,
Right.
got the number 1 seed,
Lock it up.
and I'm gonna tell you how petty I am as well, right? I listened to the Duke radio program after because I wanted to hear the sadness in their voices. That's how petty I am.
Ain't that wrong with that?
I turned from the Carolina feed where they were happy and jubilant to intentionally listen to the sadness and disappointment,
Salty tears.
yes, of the Duke commentators. That's how petty I am. And it made me feel so good. I just can't help it.
But let me ask you this though. Winning that game last night at Duke, and unfortunate situation after they won, fans started throwing water bottles, stuff like that.
Yeah.
at 'em.
Yeah, that's
Hopefully-
uncalled for.
Hopefully nobody got hurt. But other than that, how big is that win going into March Madness and creating that momentum?
I mean, anytime we talked about this after the first time they played. Anytime you beat your rival, it's game day. You're at, Cameron, where they have notoriously that some of the wildest fans. They're right on top of you. I mean, that's a big game no matter what. It's senior night for Duke, so you ruin that for them. So that's another.
And Coach
thing
K
you
was
get.
at the game.
Was it
Yeah,
Yes,
with his
he
wife.
was.
good?
Cause Jeremy Roach is one of the last that played with Coach K.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well,
A
good.
little tenure.
So that's another little extra icing on the cake.
That's right. Did knock him down. Yeah, but you said, but I think it's a good win. Like I said, I think Carolina's peaking at the right time. Because again, you don't want to peak too early in the season because then you're not worn out. But what do you call it? Your juice, or what I call it, the juice. You go into the tournament and you're on a lull, and all of a sudden you lose to an 8 seed or a 12 seed.
Right.
You don't want that. So I think Carolina right now is pumping on all cylinders. All they got to do is make it through the tournament. That is the ACC tournament, or to become conference champs, to solidify the #1 seed. They'll probably be #1 seed in the South more than likely. And then, then you get to get that, not bye, but you get to play the play-in guy,
Right.
which is an easy win. Your path to i.e. the Final Four is a little easier,
Right.
versus, like I said, if you could lose, but still you want to lock up that #1 seed. So I think they're peaking at the right time going into the tournament.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be in contention for a 1. No lower than a 2, no matter what
Correct, right,
happens.
right.
And a couple things fall right. Houston, I think they're locked into a 1.
Yeah.
I think Purdue's gonna be locked into a 1. You got
Arizona.
Tennessee people we're talking about,
Oh yeah.
but Kentucky knocked
We just
them
beat them.
off.
Yeah, we just beat them yesterday.
So,
I think they're going to be a solid 2.
Arizona
Yeah.
has the potential to be a 1. They'll either be a 1 or a 2. But yeah, so it's UConn is gonna be a
Yeah,
yeah,
UConn.
be a
Forgot about
1.
UConn.
So really I think Carolina, Tennessee, Arizona, they're
Houston.
probably all battling for that
1-2
last
spot, yeah.
the last
But
one.
Houston, I watched Houston play.
Man, they beat the brakes off of Kansas.
Bro.
Yeah.
I say, wow. I was like, their toughest game was against Baylor. Everybody else, not so much. When it's like you said, when you up 21, you putting everybody else in.
We
Then
practicing that.
we doing. Was it live situational game?
Yeah.
Stuff at this point.
Live simulation.
You live simulation at this point. Because I was like, it reminds me those old dominant teams, right? That Carolina had, and that the Running Rebels had, and that UConn had, Providence. Those dominant teams where you go in and you're just like, yeah, but it's gonna be a rough one for whoever they're playing because they about to mop the floor with them. And that's what Houston's literally doing. They have been playing at such a high level for the last, I would say, 20+ weeks. It's crazy.
They've had a couple hiccups.
Yeah,
Every game been most likely a business trip, literally.
They have 2 losses.
They got more than 2
They got-
because UConn was has been '1 most of the season.
Yeah. Let me see how many
Houston definitely looks good though.
They look real.
And like I said, they beat the brakes off of Kansas.
That's a blue blood basketball team. Right
Yeah,
there.
100%.
They're 28-3.
Yeah, like I said,
29-3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I said, I'm telling you, boy, they even when they played them in they
beat
played
Kansas
West
by 30.
Virginia, they beat the brakes off of West Virginia in West Virginia, and they did one of the Duke things where people started throwing water because it was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was like, he cleared his bench, so the scrubs were playing, and they were still scoring points.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this game is over. I don't even know why I'm watching it.
Regarding UNC, I know our eyes on RJ, our eyes on Baycott. And I know you talked about how Ryan was a big addition last night. What role players need to have a good March Madness to put UNC over the top if RJ or Baycott has a
Well, 100%.
off game?
Cadeau needs to be on the floor. He got in foul trouble and had to sit like the last bit of the first half. They're a different team when he's running the point, and you can play RJ off the ball. When RJ has to be the point guard, it takes away his effectiveness. That's why this year has been so great because he's such a natural scorer. Cadeau's a natural point, trying to get everybody else involved.
Penetrating and kicking it out.
When Cadeau is on the court, Carolina's a way different team. Everybody else, we need Cormac Ryan to knock down open threes.
I remember Ingram used to be big in certain games in the past.
Yeah, Ingram played great last night as well. But he's our other kind of inside guy, can do a little bit of everything. He can hit the open 3, he can post people up. He's a great rebounder. But number 1 dude is Cadeau. If he's rolling, that's a whole different team because they play fast, gets everybody the ball where they want it to be. And then RJ doesn't have to work so hard on the ball. He can play off the ball and then come off screens and knock down that J.
We want though.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So we got other tournaments going on too. Anybody see the
South Carolina beat Tennessee as far as women's
yeah.
on the
That was,
buzzer beater.
Buzzer beater. It was
Which is crazy because they hadn't lost all season.
Mhm.
And
That was her first 3 of her whole career.
and she banked it in from the top of the key. They left her wide open.
Wide open.
So just-
We gotta.
I
what
mean-
was happening what was the call?
Well, no, honestly, that's a perfect call. You don't. I'm leaving her wide. She can shoot that shot 10 times. That's the only one she's making.
But I understand it. But to not even contest.
No, that's a good. That's a good.
I said, I'm
That's
sorry.
good defense.
I did think of it as like, okay, it's not likely for her to make it, so I would have did the same thing. But at the same time, I would have been pissed. Maybe I don't know.
She'd have got a foul
Because you could have fouled her,
I had a
and she's a
sure.
way better free throw shooter. than She is a 3-point shooter.
like
You're
that.
right.
I would have done something. I'd have gone man to man, and they would have had to force that ball in.
Because did it look confusing to you? Because it looked like they were trying to
It was
figure
a
out if they
scramble
were
play.
going to.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly,
That's why
exactly.
she ended up at the top of the key, wide open,
By herself.
because nobody's going to guard her out there.
Because Dawn was actually
He's-
telling her to get right here.
He's
and
not even
fuck.
supposed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's just one of those. They could look back on that one and say,
Coachable.
again, it was just, it wasn't like it was for the, championship or
Right.
anything.
Exactly.
But you could look back at that if they go undefeated and say, well, remember that,
Yep.
Mhm.
lucky
That moment.
shot we made at the top of the key.
But hey, you got your foot on your neck, push down.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. Like I said, I would have, in that, again, hindsight's 20/20, but I would have gone man to man. And I would have said, if anybody pops out, because you needed a 3 to win the game, a 2 to tie. I would have given you the 2 to tie and going into overtime. Like I said, I'm not giving you a shot at a 3, because you said what? It wasn't a swish, it banked in.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you got to give her that shot.
Mm.
That's the worst shot they possibly could have taken, and the worst
She
person to
made it.
take it. and she made
It's
it.
either that perspective or your perspective.
Yeah.
I've only seen that. There's no in between.
There's-
There's no in between.
Anything else you do but
Okay.
that is a better shot than what they just. She just made it.
Like I said, 1.1 seconds, I would have made
Put it on the
I
floor.
would have made her put her on the sit back something. I'd have been like this.
There's nothing worse. There's nothing tougher than that shot that she hit right there. Nothing.
Like I said, I don't know.
That'd be like saying.
With a hand in her face, maybe.
That'd be like if somebody shot a half court and you're like, we should have picked him up.
Yeah, right.
Like no.
Nah,
If
I mean,
it-
that's
that
different.
goes-
That's different.
If that goes in, it just goes
Like I
in
said,
there.
that's different. Though. Like I said, that's different because I was just looking at it like, wow. I was like, wow. I said, I'm sorry. And the coach's expression said it all.
Yeah, because he's like, we
Yeah,
couldn't-
she was just like, wow.
we just not supposed to win that game.
Right.
We just not supposed to win that game.
Maybe it was rigged.
Regarding March Madness, looking back on it, I want to ask you guys, what are some memorable players that you remember having a good tournament run? I know for me it was Steph Curry at Davidson,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
CJ McCollum.
Yeah, some good runs there.
So who do you see maybe in maybe this year or just in the past that gave you that
Man, that's
nostalgic
the-
feeling?
I liked the DeRozan team with AD, and then they had a pretty good run. That was pretty memorable. Like I said, again, we talked about before, I liked the game where he went against Lonzo Ball, and he just had that chip on his shoulder. So
Oh, De'Aaron Fox,
De'Aaron
yeah,
Fox, I'm
UK,
sorry.
yep,
Yeah, UK. So I remember that game. Then, of
De'Aaron
course,
Fox and Malik Monk.
I remember these are older teams like Todd Day and May from Arkansas. They had some elite runs. And then of course you had Loyola,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Loyola, the
Marymount.
Marymount, yep.
Yeah.
And you had was it Scott, the guy that died?
That was Hank Gathers.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to say Hank Gathers him, and then Kimbo
Yeah.
was shooting left-handed shots. But Loyola was a run and gun. I mean, literally. So those are some of the things that I remember. Of course, you had the Georgetown Carolina game and the initial block by Ewing.
He blocked like 4
I know
at the beginning of the game. He had like 4
it was
goaltendings at the beginning of the game.
yes, to send a message.
Yeah.
They lost that game, so and Thompson on the sideline, those are things that I remember that were really fond to me.
You just can't like March Madness. What makes it so great is you got all these teams in it,
Right.
and the Cinderella schools, versus the top blue bloods, and you just never know what's gonna happen. Like that's why you have to play the games, right?
Yeah.
Now, the Cinderellas rarely win the whole thing,
Right, correct.
but
It's nice.
it's a
story.
nice story, while
Nice
it's
story.
going, so that's March Madness, I don't think you can beat it when it comes to like the whole pageantry of it, and just from the first game to the last game, whether it's two number one seeds or whether the one seeds get knocked off like last year, there's not even one seeds in it,
Yeah.
and you got like a 8 seed, or it's just
Do you see any team as far as maybe where you feel like, okay, this team is gonna win it? Do you feel like it's kind of like nobody's in the?
No, I don't think there's one dominant team that you say that's really going to win it, because when you look at it, like I said, like A just said, right? If a 16 seed can beat a 1 seed, it can happen. And anyway,
it's happened twice
Yeah,
in the
happened twice.
history of and it
It's
never happened,
Yeah.
and now it's happened twice in like 10 years.
But see, you have to remember though, I think it's more balanced now than what it was.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah,
With all the
100%.
transferring and the kids.
portals, the
portals
deals.
and
Yeah.
deals, it's more balanced now, because I remember when St. Mary's was St. Mary's was a Cinderella story, right? And they were like, oh, St. Mary's. I said, that I remember picking this bracket. Some guy was telling me, oh, St. Mary's is going. I said, do you realize they went almost to the Sweet 16 last year? They're not a Cinderella story anymore. They're going to mollywop
Yeah.
whoever they play, and they put them at 12 seed, because they weren't 16 seed anymore.
And some teams are better than the seeds that they get now.
Yeah.
Some teams are
Yeah.
better than the seeds they get.
Because it's all, because for the most part, most people are going to go, okay, who's playing today? I mean, everybody's going to be watching it the first couple of days, because it's like a holiday. And you hear it in the background at work, on conference calls, you hear the guy cheering because he went to Kansas. Sorry, dudes.
Yeah.
So I said, again, I think it's the playing field is much more level now.
It is.
If I was going to if I had to pick somebody, I would probably pick a 2 seed to win it this year. Because I don't, even though Houston's rolling, UConn's rolling.
Because I was going to
all
ask you,
about matchups.
what 1 seed do you feel like would get knocked out first? I got Purdue.
I mean, first of all, we don't know yet.
Yeah, we
because
don't.
haven't
We don't
started
know
the
yet.
tournaments. But
But as of right now,
I mean, so
Just
so
guessing.
Purdue got
Yeah.
knocked out as a high seed last year,
I see it happening again.
and they could do what Virginia,
happening
but they
again.
could do what Virginia did, right? Virginia lost
Yeah,
to the
they did.
16, then they won it.
Yeah.
This
They
could be their, and I'll be honest, I haven't watched them play
Mhm.
very much. But I know they got probably the most dominant dude in college, just because he's so much bigger than everybody else. He'll
Yeah.
probably be the player of the year, Zach Edey. But that's the beauty of it, man. You just
You
don't
never
know.
Like
Um,
I said, as you say, when you shoot a shot from half court and it goes in, that begins the Cinderella story,
Yeah,
right? Over the year, the Richmond Spiders did it, right? All these, it's just so many
Yeah.
plot twists and again, it's matchups, right? Because you've never played these teams before.
Right.
You got a team that could come out with a guy, that could not only shoot the lights out. Think about if you got to play a Steph Curry, you figure that's the only guy, so you only guard Steph and the other guy goes off, right? So that's the beauty of this tournament. You get literally very little preparation, you tendencies, and then you have to do in-game adjustments like that.
yeah, 100%. And dudes get hot. Like,
Yeah.
I remember the year, this was again a long time ago, but Danny Manning, the year Kansas
Yep.
won it,
Yep.
they called him Danny and the Miracles because it was him and literally a bunch of dudes that nobody ever heard of. And he was the player of the year, but he literally just carried the whole team on his back, and nobody could stop him that whole tournament. And they won the whole thing.
And then explain how significant March Madness is for prospects, how that can push them in a top 10 position, or it can make them
talking about for
fall.
NBA, you talking
Yeah,
about
for the
NBA.
draft.
the draft,
I'm gonna
okay.
say not at all. Nobody
Oh,
cares.
everybody really, you already know. Because
Yeah,
you could lose and you still going to go top 10 a lottery pick based upon your body of work, not so much just because you lost a game. That's different in different leagues,
Right.
because they evaluate differently. But if you've played, because number one, the number of games you play is more, right? So you're playing, by the time you get to the tournament championship, you played 35 plus games. That's a half of an NBA season.
Yeah.
So that gives them enough data to say, this guy's going to be good 90% of the time. So, and you never know. Again, when you look at the game, the flow of the game, let's just say, they're playing you really, really tough on D. You know, they basically trapping you, they holding you, you know, they're taking the ball out of your hand. You know, is that a good evaluation of you or the fact that they play better defense on you versus the rest
Right.
of your
They had a
team?
game plan.
They had a game plan to say, I'm gonna stop him. Cause he, like I said, like last night with Duke, right? They took the 2 scores out of the game. Somebody else had to step up. Nobody steps up. Is that on me because my teammate's missing? He went 0 for 10
Yeah.
from 3-point land when the center standing there instead of passing the ball. No.
And I'm glad y'all said that. Go ahead. I want your
Oh,
point.
no, I was gonna say, and the other thing about it is, one of the things that makes March Madness so like that, why it's the playing field's even, is because the dudes on these, especially on these like up and coming teams or the ones you don't know about, they got 22-year-old dudes, 23-year-old dudes, and a lot of your blue bloods have these 5-star guys that are
The young
freshmen,
Yeah.
and so that's why when you get in these games where it's like, how many times have you been in these
that
these big
maturity
games?
starts to
Exactly,
kick in.
and that's why those guys,
Mhm.
those teams can beat these teams with a bunch of freshmen because it's just a different level. They don't have the talent, but they have the experience and they've been playing together longer. And then as far as the NBA goes, they're looking for upside.
Right.
So that's why when you look at those drafts, it's rare that an upperclassman gets picked high.
Top 5. Right.
Because if you were going to get picked that high, you'd have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
In most years. And so they're taking the one and done guy, the freshman, who didn't even necessarily have great stats. They just project him to be better. So there'll be tons of people that put up, they're averaging 25. I mean, look at RJ. He's averaging, he's leading the conference in scoring.
Yeah.
He's not getting drafted. So,
Yeah.
but some, freshman for somebody else that averages 9 points a game will go top 5 because they like the
upside.
upside.
And
What would you say?
I'm glad y'all had that answer.
Mhm.
AJ, tell us about this tournament, this new tournament that maybe will
But you know what?
unravel in the future.
I'm gonna say this. They want to get that type of money out. Look, we 3 can go play. We split the money. That's more money for
We
us.
still have eligibility left.
I still
Yeah,
got
100%.
eligibility left, especially in basketball. Look, I'll shoot the jumper all day. I can't play no defense. I'm gonna be in the corner shooting J's all day.
But yeah, so they're talking about a Las Vegas Thanksgiving tournament, where they're gonna give out like $2 million in NIL money to the players.
Right.
And so I guarantee you're gonna have people knocking down the doors trying to get in that tournament, which is a genius move for the people that are setting it up.
Yep.
Because you think about it, if they're gonna be able to give away $2 million to the players, how much are they gonna make off of that? It's gonna be crazy. I mean, the TV deal alone, is gonna be crazy just to get. It's kind of like what the NBA did with that
Played in
mid-season
tournament. Yep.
tournament, just to add some more excitement.
Yep.
And so, that's gonna be the tip of the iceberg. And so you'll have competing tournaments, and then you'll have everybody wanting to get into, like now there's like the Maui Invitational
Yeah.
and all of these.
Yeah,
If you're not paying,
not going.
you're not going anymore, right?
We opted
So,
out. Yeah.
so now you'll have choices about, okay, where do we want to go? And this Vegas tournament, all expenses paid. So not only are they giving out $2 million
Oh,
to the
God.
players, the flight is paid for, the hotel accommodation.
And the 2 million, isn't it? It's 2 million to the team, and then they split it amongst the
Yeah,
players,
the
right?
players.
I'm not even sure if it's
Well, if it's
all the details haven't come out yet.
Okay.
It may not be 2 million.
I didn't know if they
take all.
were. I
they
just
got to.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't think it's a winner take all.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be divvied up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's $2 million.
and
Yeah.
and then how many? I mean, if this is going to be the future, in the future, will it be more college teams playing just tournaments? Would it be more like?
Well-
Understand there are going to be games in the
Well,
tournament.
no, okay, so, I mean,
Would it be more exhibition games or more just tournaments?
No, well, okay, so normally tournaments happen before the season, right? Because you gotta have your in-conference play, you gotta have your game schedule, and you have
You
to
do.
remember, right, you still have TV contracts that you have to fulfill.
Right, right.
So you just can't be like, oh, I'm opting out of TV contract because now you gotta pay. You may make $2 million on this deal, but you gotta pay ESPN their 5.6 billion back.
Right.
So that's not going away until they restructure that, or they'll probably more likely incorporate that in. Because you're not just gonna kick ESPN, ABC, and all those guys out. You're just not gonna do that. So, they may opt out of something, but they can't opt out of their conference contract. So,
Yeah, well, there's already tournaments.
yeah.
Right, yeah, I
This
know.
is just gonna take the place
Yeah,
Yeah.
of, instead of going,
I'm
again,
saying ones that's where they are offering
yeah,
money now.
instead of going to the Maui invitation,
Yeah, we'll just,
you'll say, okay, we'll go to this Vegas one,
yeah.
instead.
Right.
And, then Maui's gonna have to say, all right,
Gonna hate
we
you.
need to start putting
Mhm.
some money in the pot.
Yep.
And then you'll end up with competing tournaments and you'll
Yep.
get, teams, because trust me, once it starts, it's not gonna stop.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna want people coming to their tournament. And so they're gonna have to sweeten the pot.
Just like the
So-
bowl games.
So any
Yeah, like-
universities that start watching the podcast, we are creating a tournament. For
That's
low major to mid major
We gonna
universities
give you-
out there.
We gonna give you a free
You,
advertisement,
you can get a t-shirt. We could probably hook you up with a water bottle.
a pen.
You can come on the show
And a pen.
anytime.
Yeah, and a
Okay.
free subscription to the show. Yeah.
That's right. Come on down. We're
Yeah.
waiting. But yeah,
Oh,
but
man.
but like I said, I think that, I mean, it's really gonna change the entire landscape.
It is,
Like,
it
you know,
is.
like I said, because, even as a school, you're all expenses paid. So basically, this is just a win-win.
Yeah.
The free food, free plane flight, players get there. Hey, here's $2 million, in NIL deals. So the players are gonna like it. So school's like, hey, because that brings more notoriety to them. So, it's gonna change. I mean, wow, this NIL thing has changed everything.
Yeah. And speaking of changing everything, you know what else is changing everything?
What?
Betting.
Ooh,
Yes.
Legalized betting is
man.
taking over the world.
Yes,
How
it
many,
is.
if I had a nickel for every commercial that comes on
Oh,
about
betting.
betting or FanDuel or all these different ones,
It's on every,
It's
it's on
on
every TV
everything.
show.
It's in your
It's on,
feed.
it's in movie,
Clips.
everything.
It's in the movie
it's in
theater.
podcasts,
It's in that, and that,
literally everything.
that just goes to show
It's funny.
that we will sell our soul for anything. So think about it, right?
Yep.
Gambling and sports forever has been the worst thing you could talk. Everybody knew it was happening,
Yep.
but you're not supposed to talk about it. I mean, shoot, my man Pete Rose is probably like, "Oh, excuse me,
Right.
Yes,
can
he
your
is.
brother get in the Hall of Fame?"
Now.
Now everybody's talking about betting. But it was all, hush hush, swept under the rug.
Yep.
But now
It's
everybody on every commercial, on every show
It's
is,
advertising.
is advertising like, "Hey, we'll match $100, your first
Yeah,
bet."
you can use my code.
Exactly.
I just showed A-Dub earlier today.
Yep.
Somebody put in $2,000
on a parlay.
on a parlay for Kyrie to score the first bucket. He scored the first bucket last night. And the payout was $26,000.
Yeah, $26,000 off of that.
So wasn't that like that's probably a multiple bet thing, right?
Yeah, no,
Well, that one was just a single bet.
it's a single bet parlay.
That was a
so you
single
get like-
parlay for just to see who would score first from the Mavs.
Yeah.
And he bet that Kyrie would have the first bucket of the game.
Yeah, so he just won.
And he won that money.
Wow.
Yeah. See,
But there are other
No, there's-
parlays to where
You
it's
can
a
bet
lot
on
less.
anything,
Right,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So I mean, and that just opens the door because it's like all those silly bets at the Super Bowl. Is the anthem gonna go 5 minutes and 6 seconds?
Yeah.
So if the first game of March Madness does not go all the way through because someone ran on the court,
Bet,
Yeah.
bet.
You better look at the
Yeah.
time because hey, if I find out that there's one where
where I'm included,
The owner-
I
yeah.
will make sure it happens.
So you do it right out.
exactly.
I got that money, baby. But yeah, I mean, it is changing the landscape and
It has.
it makes you wonder sometimes, like I said, because you had the kid come out that I went to Vanderbilt, talked about the mob approached him
Mhm.
on, taking money, $300K, a quarterback to throw the games or great games. And of course, he may hope he's safe wherever he is.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't be telling people that.
No, definitely
Like I
not.
said, but like I said, but that makes you wonder though, because you look at the way some of the refs call these games. And
Yeah, Rudy just got fined and a tech for basically doing this in the game, the money symbol, and
Yeah.
he made some comments about how, like you said, some of the calls have been kind of odd or just irregular, being that betting has become so big.
Yeah, so you're like,
Some of the refs are into it.
yeah, it
so,
makes you wonder.
You know,
I mean-
you elaborate on that.
It's been it's been a thing forever, right? I
Yeah.
mean, from the dawn of time, people are trying to
Cheap.
cheat, yeah, basically.
Cheap.
And like they say, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah.
But so gambling has been huge business. Again, it was always under the table. And if you could get in somebody's ear, get them to throw a game or shave points or whatever, I mean, that's always been the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so now it's just so prevalent that every Joe Blow, nobody with $10 in their pocket
Can make money.
can make money or lose money, really, because that's what you're doing. You're losing money. Because the one thing that's undefeated is Vegas.
Oh, Vegas wins all the time.
You might think you're winning. You ain't winning. Because for everything you win, you've paid 10 times more than that in your losses. Because once you win, nobody can just stop.
Right.
And
you got to keep going.
And so when Vegas puts the odds out,
Mhm.
those people are geniuses. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how they know how to,
Do that.
what end, and they'll be like, all the money's going in on this side or on
Yeah.
that side.
Yep.
Yet it always works out. So,
Yeah, it's like
you can think you're smarter than,
It's
the
in
average,
Vegas.
but trust me, you are not.
Like I said, that's the whole, and that's the scary part, because like I said, they're not gonna give you, one person may win, but the majority of us are gonna lose.
No, the
Yeah,
one
but-
person not winning. That's
I'm
just
just saying,
it.
no, Vegas, no, some,
You hit one time,
Yeah.
but nobody hits the first time they play. You've played 1,000 times to win once,
no,
and if you win that once, you're not going to stop. You're going to keep going.
now see, well, that's them. Me, I'm taking it. I'm just saying, I know me, right? I mean, that's who I am. I'm like, look, you talking about, you give me $26,000, I'm not putting it back. I mean, I'll do this. I'll take my 26, I said, I'll take the 10, and maybe I'll put 10 back in. And if I lose it, I ain't playing no more.
Well, but here's the thing. That's great if you win that first time, right?
Yeah.
But everybody that does it,
No, it never does.
that's why it's addictive, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're like, I was so close.
Yeah.
All I
mean, I
gotta
get-
do is
yeah.
this.
It's hard. I mean, like I said, because I talked to fellas that, go help her. Yeah, because I would, if I won, I would basically, keep my winnings. It kind of like, I think about it like this, right? Which is, it's the stock market, right? If you're playing with house money, as you always say, you're really not losing. So if you win that one time and it's a lot of money, like the guy for the parlay for Kyrie, you take that $25,000, you take it, right? And if you bet $2,500, that's $2,500 of their money to play. And when you lose it, you're done. But of course, like you say, it becomes habitual and people just can't stop betting.
That's the
and they-
smart way to do it.
Yeah, that is
Most
the-
people that get
And
into
you're
it,
smart.
they're not smart.
Yeah, that's smart, so-
It's like playing the lottery, right?
Yeah.
How many people every week they're putting $20, $50, whatever,
I've seen
and then they do a scratch off and they're like, hey, I hit for $200. Sounds great, except for the fact you've been playing $20 tickets for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
You know what I mean? Look, I'll play $3 this week because it's a $500 million.
right, exactly. Yeah, and again, that's different.
Yeah, I did scratch off
But-
for 2 days and I ain't win nothing, so I put that up.
yeah.
I put that up. I'm cool.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody, again, with like the lottery or whatever, somebody's eventually gonna win
Yeah,
$500 billion or whatever the thing is.
but
But the reason why it's that big
because everybody.
is because of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are putting money in there every day.
Yes.
So,
When do you think betting will fall from major sports into high school
The
sports?
academics.
as soon as
Yeah,
somebody says you can do it
Yeah.
legally,
they'll do
they're
it.
gonna do it.
Yeah, because they're doing it now. In my opinion, I mean, there's bets going on. I mean, there's bets going on, because if you look at, what was it? Is it He Gotta Have It? Or no, what was it? The movie that had Tupac in it,
Oh, Above the Rim.
Above the Rim, and they were betting on basketball in the park, on the court. So,
Yeah.
it happens. You're not gonna tell me it doesn't. Just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean it don't happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, if when they legalize it, that's just gonna be another income stream for Vegas or for the state to.
Well,
take
I
revenue.
remember when we was talking about the NIL deals coming
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
high
that's private school.
Yeah, with private schools. So, I just was saying, how would that look with betting? If you include that, you know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
mean,
So,
it's probably coming. I mean, I think the further we move toward this pendulum, of betting, because I remember once you could not bet on anything in this state. I mean, how long did it take this state to get anything legal?
Right.
Literally.
Well, yeah, I mean, we even had the lottery.
I mean,
You had to
we
go
had-
to,
yeah, we had to
people,
go-
people were going to Virginia across border
Yeah,
to buy
Virginia,
lottery
South
tickets.
Carolina,
And then they realized
they're losing
how much
money.
money are we losing, so we
Yeah,
need
so
to get on board. Yeah.
that's key in it, right? So as we move in that direction, because again, but you see the process as the flow of where it's moving, right? Private schools are getting it, NIL deals,
Right.
right? So public schools more than likely are going to follow suit, right? Because they want to keep their people. I mean, because if not, I'm just going to go to somebody Christian school and get my money.
I mean, and I don't know I need to research that because
Hmm.
if I'm just a regular high school kid, right, and I have a big Twitter following.
Yeah.
I can monetize that, right?
Yeah.
You can,
And that doesn't have anything to do with,
well, but see, but that,
me
it-
playing sports.
no, it doesn't, but
But that's what I'm saying. So if I'm just Joe Blow high school dude
Mhm.
and the guy down the street at the car dealer wants to pay me, I need to look into that. To see
Yeah.
if,
Well,
if
and that's the thing though, see, like,
legal.
we talked about it before, is that gonna interfere with your NCAA eligibility status, right? Cause that would be
Oh, yeah,
like,
because back then you couldn't take anything,
cause back then you couldn't take any money of any sort.
and that would
So-
jeopardize it.
And that would jeopardize your eligibility status, cause think about the Reggie Bushes and all those guys.
Yeah, but
right?
you could get a job.
Yeah, you get, that's different,
And what I do on that job
it's my business,
may or may not be
your business.
anything, right?
Correct.
And
Correlated to that description.
Again,
yeah.
so they're really just kind of bringing it above ground. I
Yeah.
need to look into that
Yeah,
to see
that's
because I know, like I said, with Twitter and all that stuff, anybody can get a following
Yeah.
and monetize that. I don't know if that affects your.
Well, no, I
in
mean,
any
well,
way.
so the TikTok algorithm, if you get 10,000 followers, right? TikTok, now they send you a link for you to become a creator and they pay you per so many views, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
So I know that's what he's saying.
Okay.
Because basically that's a business transaction. Nobody's giving you money underneath the table. It's all visible.
Okay.
But how does that affect you? I mean, because it is a job. If you're,
Yeah, it is.
It is literally a job now with
If
a
you're
job
creating, yeah.
description.
Content creator.
You're
Yeah.
a content creator, so how is that going to affect your eligibility as a quote unquote athlete?
Right.
So I'm gonna segue. So speaking of high school, right? We saw the state
Ooh.
semifinal game.
Yeah.
Against
with-
Camden and what was the other team's name?
I can't remember the teams, or I don't even know what state it was,
Mm.
but the guy made
New
the
Jersey.
shot
New Jersey.
at the end of the game. They called it good. They were celebrating. Then the refs got together. Now, they didn't look at they didn't go to a video because again, they didn't have that capability.
It's I don't know how to pronounce it. MANASQUAN, Manasquan.
Where is that? In Wisconsin
Hospital.
somewhere? I don't even know.
No, it's in New Jersey.
New Jersey. So then they
Yeah.
come back and they say, nah, we changed our mind. It's no good. But again, how do you do that when you're not, it's not like you reviewed the film. They didn't have any of that, right? And then, nope, sorry, changed my mind. And then when they were able to go back to whoever had the feed,
Mhm.
YouTube live or whatever, and there was plenty of time.
Mm.
And then like a judge got involved, or the school was trying to sue, and
Don't
like at
matter.
that point, yeah, you're just out of luck. It's
And
just a
not
bad.
even that one. I don't know if you guys heard about, mind you, this was not this last game, but the game before that, North Met.
Okay, yeah, okay.
They were playing Mount Tabor. And Mount Tabor's down a few points.
Mhm.
North Met inbounds the ball, dude catches it, picks it up, drops it, and gathers it back. No call.
Double dribble.
Double dribble travel something, no
Double
call.
dribble.
No, Mount Tabor ends up losing. Like I said, they were down with down maybe 2 to 3 points, a few seconds left. North Met ends up winning. This past week, North Met beats Myers Park by a few points. So that could have been different.
Different game.
So just
So, I mean, again,
Right.
refereeing is an inexact science, right?
It
There's
is.
always going to be missed calls. So my take on referees, and I try to be consistent with this, is that, and if you ever hear me say this, you got permission, slap me right here. I try not to blame the refs for my team losing, right? because there's a whole lot of stuff that went on and through the entirety of that game. And I can say, oh man, we didn't get these calls or that call. And then, but at the end of the game, if there's something egregious, I can be like, yeah, man, that stinks. But there's still a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of other things that we didn't do or that they didn't do. And the other thing that I always say is, I've never heard anybody complain when their team won.
That's right.
So like my team won, right? And it was a horrible call. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, we got the W, but we really shouldn't have. That ref really blew that call. My guy traveled.
Yeah.
And so if you're not gonna be mad,
I said that.
so I try not to do that.
I'm one of those guys that says, yeah, we shouldn't have won that game because we shouldn't have got that call. That's because I'm fair. It is what it is. But like I said, but I'll say this for that first game in New Jersey, they should have just let that ride. You don't.
Oh, they had to.
No, because they called it back.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can't take that
Yeah,
back.
they called it back. They literally were like, oh, by the way, I'm sorry, you don't do that. Yeah, but they should have just let that ride versus stopping the clock. I mean, because you have the effect. Yeah, but so the kid, so everybody's rushing the floor in New Jersey, and then they stop the game, and now they go, oh no, you didn't win the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, at that point, you don't do that.
Yeah.
They've already rushed the floor, especially if you have no real review.
See, that's the problem.
If you have no real review.
They didn't have a thing to look at to say.
That's it. The game's over. Other team rushed the floor. They won. Done. And like I said, I don't know how they made it to their cars.
Well, which team was that? The home team that thought they won, or the you know what I'm saying?
I don't know if they played a neutral site.
Yeah,
but
playoffs. It wasn't the home team. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was.
And seeing at that point, yes, you're mad that they took it off. What I'm saying is, but at that point, you just think, oh man, it's when you later see how much time was left when you're really mad that how bad they blew it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're mad that they changed the call. Half the people are mad. Half the people are happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just without being able to review it. Like you said, you called it good. You just got to roll with that.
You gotta roll with it. I mean,
you have no,
I mean, I ref like little kids and stuff, so you see things like, I always get yelled at when they say he didn't step out. And it's like, anytime you touch the white line, you're out. Sorry. Well, but he's little. I don't care. He's out. I'm done.
Yeah.
So when he gets older and steps out, ref calls him out. He's going to say no.
You're right.
I'm like, no,
He
he's
needs to
out.
know
He knows the rules now. So I get it, but I'm like, you can't go, he can't step out of bounds. You go, oh yeah, I'm sorry. That was a touchdown, but we called it a touchdown, but he stepped out of bounds 50 yards ago.
Yeah.
So
You can't do that.
regarding what you initially said about referees, I know it's been a lot of backlash from the NBA with, refereeing
Mhm.
and their calls haven't been as consistent, things like that and that nature. What are your takes on that? And then also with betting, if you are a professional referee, NFL, NBA, should you be excluded from betting?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to bet on anything that you have some outcome in how it goes. So if they find out, I don't care if it's FanDuel, if it's whatever. If I'm reffing,
And should it be the ref itself, or should it be like anybody of your family? How should that go? How should that look like?
that's a good point.
That's a
Yeah,
good point
that's a
right
good
there.
point. No, anybody that's affiliated with you
Yeah.
should not be able to place a bet on the game that you're reffing. Now, again, how do you?
Yeah,
how do
that's
you-
how do you,
do that.
then
Well,
like,
I mean,
how
I
do you
would
know?
say immediate families, first cousins, things like that.
Well, but I mean, I could be. Here's what it is.
You my long lost friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're reffing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, man, you got the LA Minnesota game tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, man, I got the over. So I'm gonna need you to call a lot of fouls at the end of this game if it looks like we ain't gonna make it,
Yeah.
because I need to get it to 2:30.
I need that 2 mil.
Yeah. And so
I mean, I feel you understand, but I mean, that's hard to police, no matter in betting anyway. I mean, that's why these guys get caught. So how do you get caught? Seriously.
Well, people out here using their real names as usernames.
Yeah, they use their real names, so eventually somebody gets caught and they do get, they get an example made of, right? So that's supposed to quote unquote deter you but that's never going to stop what's going on. I mean, even if you have all these rules in place where I'm not supposed to be betting on a game. I mean, Pete Rose didn't bet on any game he was involved in, and he spent it and never in the league.
Well,
No, that's what he said. He
kind of backtracked on it.
He
a little
did?
bit.
Okay.
He was like, well, I never intentionally, I never did anything like, dude, you knew who was, again, I got no problem with it. Because, well, let me change that. That's like number one rule, like in baseball, like they have it on the thing,
Yeah.
can't bet or whatever. But to me, that shouldn't keep him out of the Hall of Fame because it had nothing to do with his playing. You can
Right.
put an asterisk, but they're very strict on that in baseball, and they're like, nope, our integrity is worth more than blah blah whatever. His betting on games when he was 60 had nothing to do with him stealing bases and being the all-time hit leader when he was 30.
Yeah.
So that's just my take on
Like I
it.
said, let him in. But yeah, like I said, I mean, it'd be hard to police, like I said, but it's not gonna stop. Who was the guy? Was it Tim?
Tim Donahue.
Tim Donnie, the ref that was betting on games. I mean, he was betting on games.
Yeah,
Hold up. Do you think he was the only ref betting?
he's the one that got caught.
He's the one that, thank you.
Yeah.
He's the one guy that got caught
Yeah.
betting. It's never, like I said, for every one person that gets caught, how many other people are doing it?
Right. And how far do you think betting goes? Like, where do you think betting goes up? Does it go all the way up? And I know anybody can do
It
it.
goes all the way.
Ownership,
Yeah. I think they all bet.
Yeah, so
general managers, like, who do you
so-
think?
I mean, I think
is doing it?
I think in some capacity, everybody is doing it. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and paint a pie in the sky picture and say, oh yeah, by the way, nobody's doing it. Everybody has all this integrity.
Right.
As we've just found out, or we know, everybody has a price,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got one.
right?
I got one.
mine isn't that high.
Yeah. Not at all.
Everybody has a price. So, you think about it, you gotta, hey, you look at some of the games, you just look at some of the games and some of the effort of some of these players, and it just makes you wonder.
Yes. Yes.
Because you're going, bro, Olay, bro, wait a minute, why you just let him?
Mhm.
Bro, the game's on the line, and you going, I got the under, so if I foul him, I get.
Mhm.
It's hard because there's so many things you can't control, and then if the thing you can control is the thing that you get caught doing, right?
Yep.
So if it's like 100 times out of 100, you do XYZ, and then all of a sudden
You do the complete opposite.
you do the complete opposite, and in a certain spot, that's when it gets a little
suspect.
suspect.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but betting, like I said, that's what's gonna, again, that's what's gonna drive the narrative of rigged games for real. I mean, we heard about it last year where they said the NFL is scripted, the NBA is scripted. You think they're saying it now? Oh, it's gonna be off the
Well, you know what?
charts.
I'm gonna say, here's one thing though. That thing I think is with the legalized betting, it's just gonna expand it to the regular people more,
Yeah.
right? I don't really see this affecting the upper level cheating stuff,
Yeah.
because that's the stuff that was going on.
Anyway,
When the mob, you would get with the mob about fixing the game for $300,000. Like the low level FanDuel stuff,
Yeah.
to me, it's
The
just gonna
prize picks, yeah.
it's gonna expand it so much to like your regular Joe Blow, and like there's gonna be a whole bunch of like college kids that get in a bunch of trouble, and teenagers that get in, I mean, what the age is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people that don't have the money to lose are gonna be losing a lot of money
Yeah.
Yes.
on stuff, because it's just gonna get away from you.
Yeah.
Just like, on a lower level. So look at all the people that do fantasy sports,
Yep,
right?
we bet on that.
And, you put your $20 in or whatever.
Mhm.
People are so into fantasy sports. Like it blew up sports even more when you started doing fantasy. People that don't even care.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at the brackets for March Madness.
Yep.
People that don't even know what a basketball is
They
are
don't-
filling out a bracket trying to win that.
That money. Hey,
Exactly.
it's a payday.
And so there's so many levels of it, right? Just the FanDuel stuff is just
Just a tip,
another layer.
just a tip.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, and it doesn't scare me, like I said, because it's been going on forever. I mean, in every sport, there's some type of bet. Always boxing, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, everything.
MMA, I mean, it's everywhere. And it's just so much money, and that's why the cap space is actually increased by $13 million just from bringing in the betting money.
Wow.
Is that really wild?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah, it's gonna go up even more. Because once they get the Vegas cut of the money, cap's gonna be like 300 million.
yeah, but is the NFL getting any of that? Like,
Yes,
how's
they
that?
are.
I mean, other than like advertising,
No, they're getting that money.
really? Yeah, I didn't know, I didn't know how that.
Yeah, because they legalized gambling for the NFL, so they're getting a portion of that money.
Oh, yeah, see, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
I did hear about that.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know
why-
how big the portion
You know,
was.
they get part of the money. That's why all the players are now, that's why they're trying to scrutinize all the players from betting. Like I said, they don't use their real names in a burn phone. They should be okay.
Yeah,
I ain't putting no ideas out there. I'm just saying.
please.
That's
Please.
Let's burn a phone out there. But yeah, man, like I said, it's a crazy, man. Like I said, but like I said, short episode today. Like I said, we're gonna wrap this one up. Like I said, again, I would say please leave a comment. Like I said, just make sure it's productive because again, we might read it, then again, we might not. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and sign off.
I welcome all Duke comments, because I got plenty to say to you. So we're ready.
Well, until next Tuesday. Because all things Duke, y'all lost. I'm sorry, y'all got swept. Just happens sometimes, you know, maybe y'all get us back in about 5 years, but we'd be looking forward to it. Like I said, but we're gonna sign off again. Please like, share, subscribe. Like I said, watch so we can beat the YouTube algorithm. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off here for today's episode. We got my man,
AJ.
we got my man,
Jay,
we got A-Dub again. See y'all again next week.
peace out.